What if I told you there's a way to print designs that don't just sit on a shirt, but actually become part of it, kind of like a tattoo? Well, that's what we're diving into today, the science of dye sublimation. It's a printing method that creates designs so durable, they literally become one with the material itself.
Oh, we've all been there, right? You get that one graphic tee you absolutely love, and after just a few trips through the laundry, it looks like a disaster, all cracked, peeling, and faded. But what if I told you there's a way to make that print last as long as the shirt itself?
To really get how this works, we're going to use a super simple but really powerful analogy. Think about the difference between a sticker and a tattoo. This one idea is the absolute key to understanding how most printing methods stack up against dye sublimation. So think about traditional inkjet or even screen printing. It's basically like putting a sticker on your shirt. The ink is a physical layer sitting right on top of the fabric, and that's exactly why it can crack and peel off over time. Dye sublimation, though, that's the tattoo. The ink isn't just sitting on the surface, it's infused into the fibers, becoming a permanent part of the material.
So, how does this whole tattoo thing actually work? Well, the secret is right there in the name, sublimation. In science, sublimation is what happens when a solid, in our case this special ink, gets heated up so intensely that it turns directly into a gas, totally skipping the liquid phase. And it's that gas that then bonds with the material on a molecular level. Pretty cool, right?
The process itself sounds complicated, but it's really just two simple steps. First, you print a mirror image of your design on some special transfer paper. Then, you place that paper onto your item, put it in a heat press, and hit it with some serious heat and pressure. That heat is the magic trigger. It turns the solid ink into that gas we talked about, which then permanently dyes the fabric. That's it.
Now, as incredible as this process is, it's not actual magic. To get that perfect, permanent print that we all want, you have to play by some very specific, non-negotiable rules. And here they are, the 3 golden rules. First up, the material. Your item absolutely must be made of polyester or have a special polymer coating. Second, the color. It has to be white or a very light color for your design to even show up. And third, the heat. The item has to be able to handle temperatures pushing 400 degrees Fahrenheit without melting or getting damaged.
And this brings us to the #1 mistake pretty much every beginner makes. You cannot, I repeat, cannot, sublimate directly onto 100% cotton. The ink is literally engineered to bond with polyester. On cotton, it has nothing to grab onto, so it'll just wash right out, leaving you with a faded, blotchy mess. Trust me on this one.
Okay, but why only light-colored items? Well, think of the sublimation ink like a pack of colored markers, not a can of paint. A marker only shows its true color on white or light paper, right? If you try to color on black paper, you can barely see it. It's the exact same principle here. There's no white sublimation ink, so you need that light background for the colors to pop.
And this same logic applies to hard stuff too. You can't just go grab any old ceramic mug from the dollar store and expect it to work. It has to be specifically made for sublimation, which means it has that essential polyester coating for the ink to bond with. So always look for items labeled sublimation ready or sublimation blanks.
All right, so we've got the theory down, but how does sublimation really stack up in the real world? Let's put it head-to-head against screen printing and direct-to-garment printing in the ultimate durability showdown.
The results really speak for themselves here. When it comes to color retention, sublimation is excellent because that ink is bonded deep inside the fibers. For wash resistance, it holds its vibrancy without any cracking or peeling, and for stretch, since there's no layer of ink on the surface, it just moves perfectly with the fabric. In every single category that matters for long-term wear, sublimation is just the clear winner.
So the main takeaway here is just one word: permanence. Because the ink becomes one with the material, the design is literally as durable as the fabric itself. It's not an extra layer, it is the fabric. And that means it will never ever fade, crack, or peel away.
Now that we've seen just how powerful this is, the big question is, should you get into sublimation? Let's weigh the pros and the cons to help you figure out if it's the right fit for your projects.
Okay, the pros are pretty compelling. First, you get that unmatched permanence we've been talking about. Second, the quality is basically photographic. You get these rich, amazing colors. The feel of the fabric is totally unchanged, so it stays soft and breathable, and the versatility is just huge. If it's made of polyester or has that special coating, you can probably sublimate on it.
But, there are definitely trade-offs.
There's a pretty significant upfront cost to get the special printer, the ink, the paper, and a good heat press. You're also limited by materials and colors. It has to be polyester and it has to be light colored. And finally, if you're trying to print, say, 500 shirts, it's just not as efficient as a traditional screen printing setup.
So there you have it. You no longer have to settle for prints that act like stickers. You now know the secret to making designs that are more like tattoos. Permanent, vibrant, and a true part of whatever you print them on. So the only question left is, what incredible, uncrackable designs are you going to go out and create?